Very good morning. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Sai Satcharita Parayan. I hope you all had a very good weekend. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurube Namaha. Shri Sai Satcharita, the life and teachings of Shirdi, Sai Baba. So we'll continue from where we stopped, chapter 46, Journey to Kashi-Gaya and the story of the goat's past birth. My obeisance to Shri Ganesh, to Shri Saraswati and Shri Guru Maharaj, to the family deity, to Shri Sita Ramachandra. My most humble obeisance, I bow in reverence to the most venerable Guru, Shri Sai Nath. We stopped at verse 94. We'll continue from verse 95. So this is about the goats. Okay. Returning to the mosque from the Lendi, while walking casually on the way, if he sometimes met a herd of goats, Baba would feel most happy. He would then cast his nectar-like glance over them all, sometimes selecting a goat or two out of it. Whatever price the owner asked, Baba would pay to him at once, and keep the animals with Kondaji. Such was Baba's usual practice. One day, Baba bought two goats, paying rupees 32 for them. Everyone was surprised. As he saw the two goats, he suddenly took a liking to them and going near, patted them on their backs. On seeing them born as animals, Sai Samarth felt compassion for them and was moved by their condition. He was overcome by a profusion of love. Drawing them close to himself, Sai lovingly passed his hand over them. The devotees were astonished by Baba's strange behavior. Sai remembered his great affection for them in their previous birth and was overcome with love. On seeing them born as goats, he was deeply moved by pity. For a goat that cost 2 or 3 or 4 rupees, Baba had actually paid 16. Tatyaba was simply amazed to see his strange doing. When they saw with their own eyes this buying of a thing by paying whatever price the trader had asked, Madhu Rao as well as Tatya indignantly protested against Baba's action. Why did he pay 16 rupees for a thing worth 2 rupees? Did Baba have no value for money and hence was doing things just as he pleased? But even this argument was not satisfactory. Both chaffed and fumed within. Why did Baba make such a bargain? Is this any bargain? Both blamed Baba. How could Baba be so deceived? All the people gathered there. To see this, Baba was calm and composed in his mind, as if nothing in the least had happened and was lost. Although the two of them were thus angry and began blaming Baba, Baba himself was not in the least perturbed. He remained perfectly at peace and was quiet. Humbly, they both asked Baba, "What is this strange way of your generosity? Are not 32 rupees lost?" See, this is a very, very important and a profound truth. What the Guru does, why he does, it's none of our business, number one. Number two is, we cannot fathom the ways and the workings of a great master. He knows what is he doing, why he pays sometimes more, why he sometimes pay less, and sometimes he doesn't even pay. So there are reasons behind it. There are profound truth behind it. But we human beings can never fathom or understand any of that. So why are we trying to question Baba or any great master of their doings? If he's giving certain money to someone or if he's taking some money from someone, they're all meant to be for a purpose alone. And this is something we don't understand, how it works, why it works, and wherefore. The whys and wherefores are never understood by the human, our own human, the petty little small mind. It's beyond its understanding. And what are we trying to understand? Do you think the mind can give you any answer, or can you judge the great Guru? No, not at all. My Krishna Guruji's ways of working is so beautiful and unique that many a time you get baffled because you try to judge him. You judge his actions constantly, saying that, oh, why did you pay more? Oh, why did you pay less? It's very stupid and petty of we human beings trying to question the great master. So here everybody is amazed. Why did Baba pay so much money for these two goats? So let us understand why Baba has paid. And see, believe me, Baba is least bothered. He doesn't have to give you any explanation, nor he doesn't want to even say anything to you. But the people around him think that he's so dumb and he's lost the money. You think the great Almighty will lose any money, or he doesn't understand any of this? Let us understand what does Baba teach here. So humbly they both asked Baba, what is the strange way of your generosity? Are not 32 rupees lost? On hearing this question of mere money with a smile, Baba said to himself, truly crazy are these people. Oh, how will I make them understand? Absolutely right. But Baba's peace and calm was most remarkable. The steadfastness of his mind was not at all disturbed. This is the characteristic of true everlasting peace. Everyone was most surprised. He who knows no anger but experiences a lasting peace and sees God in all creatures. But can indiscretion ever touch him? Absolutely true. He knows no anger. Baba doesn't get ever angry, but he portrays, he just enacts that he's angry or he's upset or he's sad or he's very happy. All those things are his way of portraying an image to the external world, to his disciples, to teach certain things, to impart certain knowledge. But he always is in a lasting experience. He's always in everlasting peace and sees God in all creatures. How can indiscretion ever touch him? Those who have the power of discriminating knowledge will never allow anger to be aroused. Absolutely. This is a very, very important lesson for all of us. And if such an occasion unexpectedly arises, a treasury of peace will be thrown open. Absolutely. Those who have the power of discriminating knowledge will never allow anger to be aroused, because we understand the material worldly people are ignorant beings. They don't understand what they are doing. That is why Jesus Christ said to the Father in the heaven when he was crucified on the cross that, forgive them, Father, for they do not understand what they are doing. They are ignorant being. This is what Jesus Christ said to the Father. Why? Because he knows the material worldly people are they don't understand. They're absolutely ignorant being. So what can anybody do to them or tell them? They don't have discriminating knowledge. So here it is mentioned, those who have the power of discriminating knowledge will never allow anger to be aroused. And if such an occasion unexpectedly arises, a treasury of peace will be thrown open. He who meditates ceaselessly on Allah Malik, how can his greatness be described? His life is incomprehensible and profound, most sacred and highly beneficial. He of a compassionate mind, who is knowledge personified, a store of renunciation and the ocean of peace. Listen to what he really said. On seeing the insistence of both, Baba made up his mind. He said, I, who have no place even to sit and no home, why should I want possessions? Absolutely. He's an Avaduta. He's ever free. He can be anywhere he wants. He roams this entire universe. He doesn't have a home, neither he wants to, sit in one place, because Baba is all pervading. Go to the shop first and buy a measure of pulse. Feed them to their heart's content and then return them to the shepherd. Obeying the command, the goats were fed the pulse immediately. Then, without losing any time, they were sent back to the herd. Benevolence personified that he was. Sai was truly an avatar. What good, kind thoughts Tatya, Shama or anyone else can inspire in such a one? Absolutely. See, nobody can inspire any good thoughts in a divine master who's already the personification of everything that exists, the goodness, the compassion, benevolence, kind, love, you name it. They have all the goodness in this entire universe that is there. It is vested within them. They don't have any other evil propensities. The aspect of evil doesn't exist in these divine beings. That is why they are God and we are human beings. We are mere mortals. But to become divine is why we are getting this knowledge. In this way, The rupees were gone and so were the goats. Then Baba narrated the whole amazing story of their past birth. As was Tatya, so was Shama to Baba. He loved them both equally. To appease their anger, Baba narrated this delightful tale. Sai, on his own, narrated to them both the story of the goats, past birth. Listeners may also listen to it. In their last birth, the goats were fortunate. Both of them were then human beings and they stayed with me. But they too have to suffer for their karma. These goats that you see were brothers in the last birth. Quarreling with each other to the extreme, they died, and this has been the result. See, whatever we are today and whatever we will be in the future is all because of our karma. And that is why my Krishna Guruji will always say, in order to be born in a pious womb, you have to always go towards the path of sattva. You have to become very good. Goodness is the only word that you have to live in this life and to eternity. And if you can practice, then you will always be born as a divine being where you have the opportunity to serve the great gurus like them and evolve on your path of spirituality. Most importantly, you will born in a pious family and where there is opulence. And this is a very important thing that you need to understand. Where you have the opportunity to study, where you have opportunity to have a good life, which is always evolving towards the path of sattva alone. In the beginning, great affection subsisted between them. The brothers would eat, sleep together regularly and always wished each other. Thus, there was great unity between them. But though they were real brothers, through an unfortunate concurrence of destiny and a merit, a terrible greed for money gave rise to a great enmity between them. The elder brother was very lazy, while the younger was one industrious and worked hard day and night. As a result, the latter collected heaps of money, of which the elder brother became envious. Better to remove this thorn in the flesh, then there will be no dearth of money. With this thought and overpowered by greed for money, the elder preferred to follow evil ways. See what happens when you fall into the ditch of the lust and greed. So we should never be envious of anybody. If somebody is working hard and they are earning that money, why should we be greedy about that? We should never get into such things, and this is what leads to further karma in our life. So let us only harbor goodness in our world and go towards the path of sattva. And most importantly, be contented with what God has bestowed upon you. There is no point in asking for more. The more you want, the more you get into misery. So don't go after material worldly desires. Lust and greed, please stay away. Such greed for wealth obstructs vision. Also, although with eyes he became blind and forgot the loving brotherly relationship, he was all set to destroy the younger brother. Suffering brought one by one's prarabdha is very hard indeed. It gave rise to needless enmity. The treacherous secret, scheming and plotting came to light, and the fit of avarice was uncontrollable. Please see what happened. Just that one wrong thought can lead you to the sequence of many more thoughts, and then the downfall is very easy. This is the Rakta Bij. In Devi Mahatmyam, we have learnt about it. One bad thought gives rise to so many more demons, and an endless number of Rakta Bij do come from that drop of blood which falls. So what is that one drop of blood? The one drop of blood, the evil thought, gave rise to so many more evil thoughts. And what happened? You ended up becoming an evil being. And then you forgot all the goodness, that he's your brother. Everything was forgotten. And what? You followed your self-conceit, the deceit, and went into destroying your own brother. This is not right. This is what the moral of the story means. Don't get lost to lust and greed. And then there is no reasoning. And in anger, a man loses his reasoning. And why does an anger come? Because he has desires. He's envious about his brother, that his brother is working hard and making a lot of money. So who's stopping you from it? You want it on a platter? See, this is what we need to understand. We should be very happy and working hard with whatever God has bestowed upon us. Why are we looking into somebody else's life? And if somebody is working hard, that is their hard work. So how do you think that you need to get that without working hard? So this is the true meaning of this lesson. So please don't get carried away for lust and greed, and especially given to your desires. Your desires is the root cause of all your miseries. It could be your desires or your family's desire. Any desire will lead you to downfall. Their lifespan was really over, so that they forgot the brotherly affection completely and were aroused to anger by their ego. They fought each other as sworn enemies. Hitting hard on the head with a baton, one felled the other to the ground, while the other suddenly struck down the first one with an axe, thus killing his own brother. Both fell down unconscious, shattered and covered with blood. In a short while, life departed from both the bodies of both, and thus they both died. See, what use is this in life? By killing each other, have anybody achieved the wealth? Not at all. But why do you give it to such greed? What calamity you have brought on yourself? You need to understand. So what are we running after? Ask this question before you take any such step in life. Do not harm anybody. Do not think evil about anyone. Do not curse anybody. It is not important. You don't want to be in that karma again, ever again with that person. Why do you want? See, this is why my Krishna Guruji will always say, if somebody is doing bad to you, you always do good to that person. Let the bad be with them. Why are you becoming bad? Why are you becoming like the other person? Then what is the difference between you and them? To be godly is very important. We should not walk this path. If somebody is doing harm to you, please understand the Almighty Lord is there to take care. Why are you getting involved in any of these karmas? So be very careful, and don't ever get carried away with what is happening in this world, and always be vigilant about your thoughts. Never harbor even one evil thoughts. Don't get angry with anybody. It is no use. If you feel angry, just say Krishna Arpan and move on. Just surrender unto the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. He will handle everything for you. But you don't do anything. Don't commit any sin. So, both fell down unconscious, shattered and covered with blood. In a short while, life departed from the bodies of both, and thus they both died. When they died in this manner, they entered the genus. Such is their account, which I remembered in detail when I saw them. To work out their karma, they were born as goats, and on seeing them suddenly in the herd, I was overcome with love. Hence, spending money out of my pocket, I thought I should give them some respite. But in your form, their karma stood in their way. I felt compassion for the goats, but on your insistence, I too gave in the end, and returned them to the shepherd. And so the story ends here. Do forgive me, O listeners, when later on you listen to the next chapter, your hearts will be gladdened, and the next chapter too is filled with love. That too is the nectar from Sai's mouth. Bowing humbly at Sai's feet, Hemad entreats the listeners. So we'll be to all. Here ends the 46th chapter of Shri Sai Satcharita called Journey to Kashi-Gaya, and the story of the goat's past birth, as inspired by the saints and the virtuous, and composed by his devotee Hemad Pant. So we'll begin a new chapter, that is chapter 47. And this is the tale of Veerabhadrappa and Channabasappa. His fine face looking upon which, even for a moment, the pain and sorrow of innumerable births is destroyed, and which is the source of highest bliss. Blessed is that holy countenance of Shri Sai. Sai's grace liberates one from the bondage of karma instantly, and his devotees enjoy the blissful joy without a moment's delay. He, before whose glance of grace the knots of karma and non-karma open up. In the light of the sun of his grace, the firefly of worldly life fades away and is completely lost. Bhagirathi, Ganges, washes away the sins of the world, which makes her muddy. To cleanse the dirt so collected, she longs for the dust of the sadhu's feet. See, I remember I've been talking about this. We've been reading about this. It's not Ganga who purifies the sins of us. It is when the divine master, the great gurus, the real master, dip their holy feet in the Ganga, is when her sins is washed away. Oh, when will the sadhu's feet touch my bands? When will they come to bathe in my waters? For she knows for certain that without this her sins will never be cleansed. O faithful, righteous listeners, listen with respect to this most purifying tale, knowing full well that these words are of Sai Samarth, the gem in the crown among such sadhus. The wonderful significance of this story is this: be the listeners knowledgeable or ignorant. When listening to this, the bondage of their karma will be snapped. Such is this sacred tale. Sai, who is the vision of all the eyes, the audition of all the ears. He has himself entered my heart and narrated this story. Sai is a great saint himself. As the listeners listen to the marvel of this story, they will forget their bodily consciousness and their hearts will become overcome with the Ashtabhav of love. This is a tale straight from Sai's mouth. When its essence is carefully grasped with an eye on its mortal lesson, the listeners will get satisfaction. Hence, O listeners, listen to my prayer. I am no doubt the narrator of this tale, but I do not concentrate on its essence. I will remain as empty as you are. As one recalls his love for the devotees, the mind forgets his tendency to worry, and those wearied by worldly life enjoys peace of mind. What higher gain than this can there be? Now listen, O listeners, attentively to its connection with this previous story. You will feel satisfied when you listen to the story without any impediments. At the end of the last chapter, the listeners heard the story of the goats, Baba's love for them and his recollection of their past life. Similarly, listen attentively to this story, which is almost about how the excessive greed for money can lead to a man's fall. It is Sai himself who very kindly suggests these stories one after the other and thus prevents any break in the listener's listening, thereby adding to their pleasure and satisfaction. When the story, the narrator, and the narration, all these are Sai Samarth himself, then who and for what is this Hemad except as just a nickname? Sitting as we are on the shores of this ocean of Sai's tales, why should we make any laborious effort for the stories? At the foot of the Kalpataru, no sooner does a wish arise than it is fulfilled. Does one worry about a lamp in the house of the sun? He who drinks forever of the nectar, why should he fancy poison?